and happy Moon Day, everyone, and happy spring. Please be sure to check in the chat and let me know where you're hailing from. Say hello. And if you are watching the replay, say hello as well. I love to know where you're from and that you have watched. And also let me know if you benefit from these insights. So, of course, we're going to start out with a heart drop, and then you can get your calendars, your weekly day timer ready so you can track the lunar moods and navigate the lunar landscape with some ease and grace, because, oh boy, are things ramping up. A la Aries style, right? How many Aries birthdays do we have out there? I wish you all a very, very happy in advance. So, you're the pioneers, the innovators of the zodiac. Bold, daring ideas and action. That's what Aries calls for. We're going to talk about why that is. We're also going to be talking about light and water today. So, right now, I'd like you to put your feet on the floor. Feel the soles of your feet. They're not called soles by accident. Feel the energy of your feet. Move all the way down to kiss the earth. Move down to your earth star about 3.5 feet below the earth and see energy, life, sustenance coming up from the earth through the soles of your feet. Your palms are resting up in your lap in the mode of receiving. And as the breath moves up through your body, know that it is carrying prana, literal life force from the source of all that is, into every cell of your body. Delicious. Your cells are beginning to quicken. As the energy moves up, notice if your belly is moving. You might want to put your hands on your on your belly if it's not moving. And on the exhalation, exhale through your mouth. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And on the next breath, see all the colors of the earth and the mineral kingdoms coming up through your feet, your legs, your thighs, your pelvic area, your solar plexus, your heart, up through your face. And now there is white light above your crown. And as you exhale, that light whooshes down to join all those beautiful earth colors, bringing them to a higher frequency. And on the next breath, every toe, the arch and instep of your foot, your ankles, your heels, your calves and shins, your knees, your thighs, your pelvic area and abdomen, let that intestinal area get filled with prana and light. Bring it up through your solar plexus, your chest, filling your lungs, surrounding your heart, enhancing it with light, up through your throat, your face, top of your head, and exhale. Exhale any negativity, any overthinking, any anxiety. Just let it all be exhaled. And on the next breath, feel it move up through every cell of your body. And as you move into the exhalation, from the crown chakra down, feel all the thinkety-think. Feel all your mental energy just move behind your face, down past behind your chin, behind your throat, through your chest, and come to rest in your heart. Breathe in and out of your heart for a few breaths. See the light in your heart area growing, adding a beautiful pink quartz rose gold tone to that light as it again fills every cell of your body. You will know when you are in your heart because you will feel your breath and your consciousness in that area of your body, and you will be present with the sound of my voice and in this moment. And now that beautiful multicolored rainbow of light moves through your skin to fill your auric field. So you are lit up within and without. And now that light moves, that light from your heart moves through your neighborhood, through your community. And it begins to move out through the state that you're in to fill the country. And as it moves around the earth, it fills every plant, every animal, every mineral, every person with light and love. Sending that out as you are filled more and more with it yourself. Now it moves through the oceans of the world, clearing, cleansing the oceans, loving all the life in this beautiful source of life, our oceans. And now see that light moving out to planets, the moon, Vulcan, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Chiron, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And it continues out to fill the universe with loving light, knowing that we are encoded with these planetary energies. Excuse me. And now the light returns. So sit solidly, feeling your feet, your hips on the chair as all of that light returns to you tenfold. Here it comes, nearer, nearer, closer. And now you are filled with the most positive earth energy, light and love from the universe right back at you as you come to rest once again in your heart. Allowing the breath, the beautiful breath, to come and go. And you open your eyes and come back to be with me. Hello again. So now we're present. We've been having major desert winds. We're going to have heat early this year. It's already begun a bit. We're having a beautiful spring, but the wind in the desert has really been something. And so I apologize for my dry throat. And we're talking about water today, so I'm going to take a sip of this divine elixir right now. You'll notice I have my tree of life on today. And each of you is that. Each of us is the tree of life. And so coming into balance is so important because we are coming into a new balance and we are moving toward an amazing conjunction. And some say because of the level of awakening that's occurring in this time on the planet, that this mid-April alignment will truly be an ascension portal. And of course, as we know, the ascension occurs here within us. So let's go to the week. Where's that moon this morning? 14 degrees of Scorpio. Yes, and so you might find that this week begins, with a little bit of challenging energy because emotions can be volatile, not just because of the Scorpio moon, but because of its opposition to Uranus and the other dances that it's doing with Saturn and Venus and Mars in Aquarius, the North Node in Taurus, and then we have Leo as the outlet, which in its negative side can be negative drama and an overactive ego. Leo on its high side is that heart-centered light shining forth into the world with so that you are expressing yourself creatively and passionately with love. Later in the afternoon today, healing and forgiveness are available in case there's any falling off course this morning in your conversations. And there also, there are self-revealing conversations going on today. So really be present in your conversations. It's if you drop into your heart continually, just monitor that, just breathe and drop into your heart and listen from there. Then Scorpio can do its high side of its ability to transform as you can be watching from an eagle's perch point of view, so to speak. So tomorrow, yesterday, by the way, of course, at 8, I believe it was 8:33 in the morning, we had the equinox. And the day before that, Venus in Aquarius squared Uranus. And so you might find that you are retooling your relationships, that there's some that you're letting go of, or that you're letting go of your old way of handling relationships. You want your individual sovereignty to be honored, for you to honor it and have it honored in your relationships. So new relationships can come in surprisingly. I connected with a wonderful friend yesterday who was on her way traveling through, whom I don't get to see very often. And so that was wonderful. And these are the kind, and there were a lot of wonderful wake up calls and insights from this friend. So these are the kind of things that can be kicked off with Venus in Aquarius. Also, with the squaring of Uranus, also because Taurus rules finances, you might have had some wake-up calls around finances and some new ideas of how to achieve a new balance for yourself in that area. Well, tomorrow, Mars, and Venus and Mars have been traveling together from Capricorn now through Aquarius, and then they'll be into Pisces. And so as this is occurring, this is telling us that a new balance is occurring, because it takes Venus 15 months to go through one orbit. It takes Mars 22 months. So you can see how for them to be together like this is unusual. And there is a message there. As we know, the universe is always, these planets are always giving us messages. So a new balance between the energy of outgoing and the energy of magnetics and attraction in your life. What do you want? That's what Venus asks you. And then Mars, says, how will you go after it? But oftentimes in our current culture, and for the past few thousand years, we have gone after things with a warlike attitude. And I want to mention this morning that, I found a lot of people are watching the news. The news wants to program your narrative. Choose your own narrative every morning. You are a creator. That's it. So powerful. And the mass hypnosis that tells you that you are not a creator, that you need to go through someone to get to the creative force. This is a truth that is no longer, people are waking up to the fact that this is not the truth of who they are. And so control your narrative, turn off any fearful negative programming, because it will bring your frequency down, and the world and your own human evolution needs your frequency to be as high as possible at this time and beyond, as we build this new earth, this new concept of what can be possible for humanity. So tomorrow Mars squares Uranus, and it could be explosive and eruptive. But if you are looking at how can I use this go juice in my own life, this Aries cycle is ruled by Mars. The South Node in Scorpio, where we're coming from, is ruled by Mars. So we're being asked to look at how we can use Mars in new ways. Wherever Mars goes, energy flows. So it is in the sign of humanity right now. And it's being squared by the Great Awakener tomorrow, Uranus. And of course, being an outer planet, the effects of these are like a ripple effect. So even though there may be an exact moment or two in time when these aspects are exact by degree, the effect ripples out. So keep your journal handy. Dreams continue to be amazing. I know some of you have just been having amazing dream times, both awake and asleep. So be sure to keep track of those, because that's your higher awareness speaking to you many times. And don't try to make sense out of them necessarily. Dreams are not linear. They supersede time and space, and they put all kinds of things together that might not seem to go together. But just keep tracking them. And I know I had someone tell me recently that what I said about how to keep track of your dreams really worked for them. So I'm going to repeat it right now. Before you go to bed, have a glass of water. You don't have to drink a lot. You don't want to, be on the toilet all night, but just drink a couple of sips. Energy follows intention. And just tell yourself that when you awaken, in the morning, you will remember your dreams. That you will drink the rest of the glass of water and you will remember your dreams. And then keep your dream journal right there, right by your bed. And in the morning when you wake up, you drink a couple sips of water, remembering that you're going to remember your dreams. Say, I happily and thankfully remember my dream, and you write it down. Just write it down as it comes. And just see how that works for you. With the energy in Pisces right now, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Neptune, all in Pisces, the dream state is absolutely phenomenal. And as we move into Tuesday, also, the moon is going to move into Sagittarius. So that will happen at 6:59 p.m. tomorrow. So tomorrow evening. But the moon will be void, of course, very briefly from 4:01 p.m. to 6:59. So, you might shift gears from your work day into the evening. Just give yourself that break when the moon is void, of course. Reorganize your mind. And of course, in the wake of the Virgo full moon, we're all being asked to organize our lives, period. To look at the details that are important, the details of our plan and our vision, but also the details around us in our homes. This is a time to declutter so that you can reclaim the energy that's locked up in extraneous stuff. You need it during this time because it's all about mastering your energy now. So, stay grounded. And because this energy tomorrow might kick off some explosive, eruptive stuff, but it also can it can supercharge your awakenings. So that's why I'm saying stay away from the news. Allow your own downloads to come through, especially since we are in the wake of 7 full moons in a row aligned with the galactic center. So you want to allow time and silence. You might take a walk in nature during that void of course moon. Allow those messages to flow from a higher source. And Wednesday, of course, the moon remains in Sagittarius. And your dreams and fantasies are ramped up. That dream that you have been working on during the Pisces cycle, which continues. The sun is moving into Aries, but the lunar cycle in Pisces continues until the new moon in Aries on the 31st of March. So you're still looking at how you're going to make your dreams real. What are those dreams? Allowing yourself to dream. What's your dream of life? What's your dream of life of the community that you live in on planet Earth and the Earth itself? How can we live more consciously and more conscious, supportive connection with the planet that sustains us? So you're encouraged on Wednesday to be true to yourself and to speak from your heart and make peace and mutual understanding your priorities on Wednesday. In the wake of whatever's kicked off by that Mars square Uranus, this will go a long way to be really helpful. And of course, continually, just drop into your heart. The heart drop, and if you practice it throughout the day, you'll find that it can happen really easily, really continually. It's fun to play with that because it really shifts the energetic when you're with somebody else, when you're talking to someone else, and when you're listening. Even seeing, that idea of seeing with your heart, you'll find that colors become brighter, that your awareness of your surroundings just shifts into a whole different frequency. And then on Thursday, which is the 24th, the moon is going to move into Capricorn at night at 9:53 p.m. So we're beginning this week in the disseminating phase at 12:24 p.m. So around noon today, we'll move from the full moon phase into the disseminating phase. And the disseminating phase in the cycle is where we assimilate what occurred, what peaked at the time of the full moon. And we take a bite out of a metaphorical fruit and see if it's bitter or is it sweet. How did we do? So the disseminating phase is also a phase of truth. Oftentimes it tells us the truth of what's transpired, not only since the full moon or since the new moon on the 3rd of March that kicked off this cycle, but back to September 6th in 2021, when the moon was new in Virgo, and we set those intentions around service and work as love made visible and our priorities. And now in this disseminating phase, we get to look at how that might have shifted. So tomorrow, tomorrow the moon is in Sagittarius all day, but it will move into Capricorn at 9:53 p.m. And then the moon will move into the last quarter phase at 10:37 p.m. So it's going to be void of course from midday, from 12:59 tomorrow until 9:53 tomorrow night. So that's, I'm sorry, on Thursday. So that's kind of a long one, not terribly long, but noteworthy, because it lets you know that Thursday, afternoon, you might want to take a breath. You might want to really get things in order. Look at what you want to put your energies of growth toward as we move into this spring time of year. After all, in the Western zodiac, Aries begins the new year. And so the planetary energies that are going on at this time set a tone not only for this season, but for the year, particularly the next 90 days, but also for the coming year. And all that work you did with your plan, expanding into your vision for yourself and humanity and walking it, and then the dream, being asked to dream bigger than you've ever dreamed, and looking at how you're going to dream that dream awake. All that work that you did in the depth of the dark now comes out into the light, and the solar energy ignites it with your actions. Aries is very action oriented. So you might find on Thursday that you have some feelings of uncertainty until the moon enters Capricorn. So that's another reason why that void of course moon time to just take stock can be really helpful. You might find that it's almost like an otherworldly kind of day. There's a lot going on with the energy in Pisces and the aspects to that day. So again, be open to your messages. Also very creative energy. Just bringing into play creative things, creative thoughts, and ideas that you might not even have thought of before. So in the last quarter, you're going to reveal your goals in light of the recent developments that have happened. Have they shifted? Are they viable? Do you want to ramp them up? What are the actions, the step-by-step actions you need to take, rather than just going off in a blaze of energy and activity? As we come to Friday, you're going to find that more is coming out into the open. And, some TLC for your nervous system on Friday. Remember that. And one of the quickest ways to be kind to your nervous system is to breathe. Just take a deep breath. If you breathe into the count of 4, you can hold it a couple beats if you wish, or just breathe out to the count of 8. You will immediately calm your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's something you might want to remember to do. My chiropractor, Chuck Greenwood, gave me that tip, and it's been very, very useful for me. And I tend to use that 8 count to just drop into my heart as I release all tension and just feel my shoulders drop, etc. So that's on Friday. Yeah, you want to take care of your nervous system. And, your mind might be conjuring up some cosmic truths for you and awakenings. So keep your consciousness peeled for those. And on Saturday, we have a reality check. And you might find that you have deep conversations on esoteric subjects, but others may not agree with you. So just know that. Remember a few times ago, I talked about how one of the downsides of Aquarius is having strong opinions, fixed opinions, which keeps you from having an open mind. So remember to drop into your heart and open your mind. That's good to remember on Saturday. And you'll find that you're able to, to kind of unwind and back off from any tensions that might have arisen with this volatile week of the squares to Uranus. On Sunday at 12:55 a.m., the moon's going to move into Aquarius. And at 12:44 a.m., Mercury moves into Aries. It's been in Pisces, it's going to move into Aries, and that will feel different. Mercury has to do with the way we think, all forms of communication. And so Sunday, it can be a good day to just begin, to journal, to be sure that you begin your day journaling and doing your gratitude. Now, if you don't do anything else with your journaling in the morning and or in the evening, but I find it's really important to start your day with gratitude. Gratitude for being alive. Gratitude for being healthy, wealthy, and free. Just affirm that every day. Affirm your gratitude. And sometimes I find, I always tell people to have at least 3, but, you might find that once you get going, I find once I get going, I just keep going. The gratitude just keeps on flowing. So, sometimes I'll fill a whole page or 2. So that's, and you're so uplifted after you do that. It just feels so good because, of course, gratitude is alchemical. And when you affirm havingness, it attracts more because you're magnetic, just like the moon. So as Mercury moves into Aries, I think you'll find that some of the fog that you've been experiencing with the moon in Pisces clears. And your nervous system can open you up to new possibilities. So breathe and, and do your heart drop. It'll go a long way to help you avoid squabbles that might occur on Sunday as Mercury has moved into Aries. And later, just, chill. There's some gnarly aspects coming at night, a little bit after 10 p.m. So if you can be in bed by 10 p.m., that's a good thing. Of course, if you're on the East Coast or if you're in another time zone, you will find that, you're already in bed, probably, because you're 4 hours difference if you're on the East Coast. So that's the lunar landscape for the week. And I want to show you something before we go any farther. I've mentioned before that I have a free gift for you. If you will send me your email, and you can email me at moonpoweredliving, and you can put moon phases in the subject line. But this is the moon phases at a glance. And, it begins with the phases. It goes through the phase that corresponds to the graphic, moonrise, moonset, the keyword, the action, and then the planting cycle. And then the second page is your guide. So it reminds you of what you're looking at. And this is a great thing to have to print out to put on your refrigerator so you can start rocking these rhythms simply, really simply, so it doesn't get overwhelming. But also, you'll always know what time it is. You know, if you're tracking the phases that I've talked about, this week will go from disseminating through last quarter. And then next Monday, we'll move into the balsamic phase. So when we look at the moon phases at a glance, it tells you that the disseminating phase, the moon rises at 9 p.m. and moon sets at 9 a.m., moving forward about 50 minutes every night in its time during the 3.5 days that the phase is going on. And the keyword is harvest, and the activity is distribute and share as you take a bite out of the fruit of your truth. So that's right there. And then in the last quarter, the moon rises at midnight and sets at noon. And I love looking up in the morning, especially if I'm outside now that it's spring journaling, and you look up and you see this diaphanous moon. It's like you can see right through it. It's so mystical. And the key word is crisis in consciousness. So at the last quarter, you get an opportunity to see if your consciousness, your attitude is aligned with your goals and your intentions. And you get to shift or align that attitude as what you've built, the plant that has supported your intentions now withers on the vine and returns to the ground of the original consciousness that birthed it. So you get to look at that. And, you know, you've heard me say that I love this song by the Pointer Sisters, Get a New Attitude. I think that really fits the last quarter phase so beautifully. So I want to move on to one of the big overarching things that's happening. And some of you might have find that you've been having some physical symptoms, that you've needed more rest. You might have had headaches. You might have had different things appearing. If you have health challenges coming up suddenly or that you haven't addressed, Virgo full moon tells you to address those now so that you can move through spring into summer and, and really ready for all that's coming and able to navigate it better. So we have these waves of comparison coming with Jupiter conjunct Neptune in April. That's really the big thing of spring and ongoing, as well as the shift in elements that we've had. We've shifted from earth and water to we've shifted to air. We've shifted to air now. And so the planets that are all together in a third of the sky, it's really interesting because they are intense. And because they're in a third of the sky as they are, it's very challenging to get a handle on the perspective that you want to have because they're so close together. It's, if you have an opposition, for instance, at the Virgo full moon, it was the handle for this bucket of planets, as it's called. So you were able to get some clarity on what was happening. Although the moon was opposite Neptune, which rules fog, so it might have been a little difficult. And you might find during this disseminating phase that that's another gift that's coming. More clarity around those full moon insights and around what happened. So especially with Mercury moving into Aries this week, that will help. But Neptune remains in Pisces. This conjunction is big that's coming. And we're going to get a preview of it this week. Remember, there was one of the days that I said it might be a little otherworldly. And that has to do with a dance going on as Jupiter and Neptune become closer and closer, and other planets are aspecting it at very close aspects, semi-sextiles and quintiles and things like that. So I don't tend to throw aspects to you. I don't think it's helpful. There's lots of astrology out there that can take you into all of the little nuts and bolts if you're someone who's really versed in astrology. But hopefully what I do here is give you practical tools, a practical way to use these energies in your own life so that you don't get lost in the universe, but you're able to ground the energy here on Earth and harness the heavens in your own life. So we're kind of getting a preview of this Jupiter conjunct Neptune. And if you are indeed taking control of your own narrative and being responsible for it, not watching the news, etc., this is a very optimistic, hopeful, expansive kind of conjunction that we've got coming up. It only happens every 166 years when these two planets, Jupiter, expansion and opportunity, especially on a spiritual level, and Neptune, which is boundaryless energy. Now, the boundarylessness can make it challenging at times to get a handle on things, but also anything is possible. And this is the energy that's coming in. But if you're locked in a prepared narrative, then you will get sidetracked and distracted, and you won't be able to be the master of your energy, and you won't be able to give a vibration and a high frequency out into the world, which has more impact than you could ever imagine. And now we're going to talk about why, a little bit more about why that might be. So as you're creating your own narrative and this energy is moving forward in Pisces, it's reminding you love, kindness, compassion. And this is the opportunity as this conjoining moves closer and closer, that these are the rays that can now move out into blanketing our whole world. You know, the narratives that's being spun, this is nothing we haven't seen before. And when you talk about Ukraine and Russia, well, what about Syria? What about there's stuff going on all over the world? So dropping into your heart and just allowing that love from your heart to spread and just seeing the whole world uplifted, healed by this energy. You can do more from your armchair than you can possibly imagine. You know, we have energy, frequency, vibration, and the way the elements work is solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. And we're learning more and more about plasma. Plasma is electrically charged, and there was something in ancient times called Indra's net in India. And Indra's net is the web of plasma that this whole planet is filled with. So you are an electromagnetic being. So when you put a thought, an emotion out, it goes into this field of plasma. And that's how it can affect things a world away across the planet. So don't ever think that that there's nothing you can do or be. And we're really in a time of human beingness. We're leaving behind human doingness. Now that's easy to say, but how radical is that? Who you be is more important than what you do right now. And this is how we're going to shift into this new earth, this new consciousness that works, gives everyone an equal playing field. So the plasma is all around us, and it's what keeps us interconnected. And it is the web of life. Plasma is the web of life. And if you want to read more about that, you can look at Don Winter and the plasma of consciousness. He calls plasma supra. Plasma is super consciousness. So again, that's Don Winter's book, and really interesting stuff. And this is also how remote healing occurs. Some of you out there may be remote healers. There is remote viewing that NASA does and that other people do regarding ships and galactic influences. But there are people who do remote healing. You know, you could. I know I've had an experience with a wonderful emotional release healer named Diane Nasser in Massachusetts, and I'm in California, but you know, she can do magic across a continent because she just simply puts the intention into the field of plasma. And that's what we all have been doing without conscious awareness. But when you start to do it from your heart, from a heart-centered place, with conscious awareness, and dream your dream awake, and walk your vision now, and be a pioneer for your truth in a loving, compassionate, kind way, it's super powerful. You affect far more people than you have any idea, not just the person in front of you. So we're not interacting only with air, but with plasma, with this electrically charged field. And we're actually becoming, and I love this, this is a phrase that Deborah Poneman has said, we're becoming homo luminous. Don't you love that? Human beings becoming homo luminous. Humans as light. And we've been going through the photon belt. This is one of the things that's really ramping up our light. And that happens every 12,000 years, give or take 500 years. So this is big. There are these enormous overarching energies of awakening going on. And we are also having coronal mass ejections, the amount of which are just ramped up like crazy. And astrophysicists say that in 2018, there were 20 coronal mass ejections. In 2020, let me see, 2018. In 2020, there were 100. In 2022, we'll have 1,000. This is huge. So, you are like a photonic, you have like photonic cells that are adapting to all of this light. So work with your light body and work to ground yourself in nature. You've seen what happens when you have an electrical circuit that's not grounded. It can fry you, right? So you want to, to really connect with the earth. You can do, the least you can do is meditate with the soles of your feet, kissing the earth and moving down below to your earth star. And if you're in an apartment building way up in the air, just move all the way down 3.5 feet below the earth to your own earth star and ground. Or get out in nature. That's the best, because nature, as I've said before, vibrates at the solfeggio frequency of love and healing. So right there, the earth loves you. It's literal. The earth loves you. And we have, so we're becoming more of our light bodies. And by the way, the magnetic shield of the sun and the earth, the magnetic shields have dropped dramatically. So this is allowing that ramped up light in with more strength and consistency. And the dark is losing its grip. This is what you just have to know. How many of you have had the experience of opening a door in a light-filled hallway to a dark room? And you can see, even with that little crack of light, you can't claim that it's completely dark anymore. However, remember also all the dust bunnies, all of the little things that you can't see when in complete darkness start to show up so that they can be swept away as you become a master of light-filled energy and consciousness. So we are being more psychically altered. Our dreams are more vivid. And this was not your ordinary equinox because of the photonic light. And we have these solar emissions. And by the way, Sedna, which is way out there, it's that energy in Taurus that has an orbit of 11,500 years. And it is at its closest point to Earth right now. So Sedna, the story of Sedna is a story of, it's really a story of the re-energizing of the divine feminine and the awareness of how within each of us, this aspect of our consciousness has been diminished and devalued. Sedna's father, the king, wanted her to get married. She needed her to get married. And so he brought many suitors before her. And she was, no, oh my gosh, no. So finally, a Birdman came. And even the father was frightened. And so he got in a boat with her. And he told her she had to choose. She had to choose someone. And she's like, no, I'm not choosing any of these suitors. So he threw her overboard into the cold Inuit Ocean. And she clung to the sides of the boat. And as she clung to the sides of the boat, he hammered her fingers with the oar until each digit of her fingers was severed and she was released into the ocean. Out of every joint of her fingers, there sprang ocean life, dolphins, whales, fish, all the life in the ocean from her severed digits. And so the Inuit at the top of the world are very, very they honor the ocean. And I remember living in Northern California in Bolinas. And in Bolinas, the Indians used to live there, and they used to live in the Point Reyes seashore. And they would go down to the ocean and they would honor it and take what they needed. But then they would move back away from the ocean. They honored the oceans. So this is a really important tale for us to remember too. This is about the betrayal of the feminine. And of course, with 2022, that was a big kickoff, asking us to integrate, to awaken and reintegrate the divine feminine. For the next 1,000 years, this is going to be going on because it was suppressed for a long, long time. And now we have to really look and live at what that means to us. What does it mean to be living in the divine feminine? We live in a culture that doesn't reward us for being just magnetic, for being in the feminine energies, for being receptive. So many of us know that we are learning how to receive, that this is a big one, not just how to make it happen, but how to do the work in consciousness, take the appropriate actions that we're guided to, and then allow the receiving. Even the receiving the messages of what we're to take action on, as opposed to just heading out from an ego perspective. So remember that light is energy and information, and that's what we are. We are information. We are cellular consciousness in this human form, this avatar that we have. And so we are, we're the grand force for this new earth. It's happening within us. We're coming into this time of the year, Easter time, which is about the resurrection and the Christ itself. So that's the resurrection of us as light beings, being aware of that we are densified light, walking on this planet. We are the pioneers and the spiritual warriors. This is what this equinox tells us. And the mastery of our energy is so, so important. That's what it's all about, mastering your energy. So aim to be helpful, both practically and energetically. So this has to do with, again, back to your own narrative. And ask yourself what frequency you're pumping into your personal and collective world. And sometimes that'll raise you up. Are you in service to something higher than yourself, than your ego self? Well, if so, then that can lift you up. Remembering, it's always, always the key is remember who you are. You are invaluable, important, as part of that diamond of humanity. And, if there's something going on in the world, you can drop into your heart and shine that light of diamond brilliance toward that area. If you're someone who feels they must do something, you can also sit in peace, be present in the present, as the presence, as much as possible. Speak to the flowers if there are flowers blooming where you are. I know on the East Coast, it used to be the daffodils that would come up. Here, it's daisies. Pretty amazing to see daisies all over the desert. So stay in gratitude and appreciation for food, for clothing, and you can send food and clothing to areas that need it as you clear your clutter. That's a wonderful thing to do too on a practical level, but just gratitude and appreciation for the sustenance that the earth is providing to you. Aries is a fire sign. It rules spirit, has to do with spirit. So it's a time of ideas where bold, daring ideas come into our awareness, especially with all this awakening energy going on. So keep track of those bold and daring ideas. Because when Taurus comes, it's going to ask you to ground those ideas. So it's all energy. So each of us can do something, because everything is energy. And don't dive into fear, anger, and hate, because you're being called to step into your mastery. So when you find yourself skirting the edge of that rabbit hole, doesn't mean that you don't allow the feeling. So you're aware that you have those feelings, but just don't go down the rabbit hole with it. It's energy. It's all just energy. And the Scorpio South Node continues to tell you if there are cords to cut with past hurts, then do that. So the last thing I want to talk about today, talked about light, the lighthouses that you are, the light beings that you are in this incredible, incredible time of optimism, possibility, and awakening that's going on the planet, of dreaming the dream awake by the way that you live every day with your awareness. And one of the things to be really aware of is water. You know, you're 70 to 86% water. So you can go without food, but your water, the water is really important. The way you honor water. The moon rules memory. And the reason that the moon rules memory is because water contains memory. I don't know how many of you have seen Masaru Emoto's books on messages from water, but if you haven't, take a look. His work was phenomenal because he isolated water crystals that had been in a jar of water that had a word on it. Love produced an incredibly beautiful crystalline form, more brilliant, beautiful than any diamond. And hate, for instance, or violence produced very corrupted water crystals. That's what's going on inside you with every thought and feeling and action. So be aware of that first, because you are a micro ocean, and every drop of water in your body is vibing with the memory of the emotions that you're putting into it and the thoughts you're putting into it. So clear your own inner ocean. You know, if you're concerned about the way the oceans are, begin by clearing your own inner ocean. And remember that water is like a liquid computer because of this capability of memory. And it can be brought into your, water can be brought into your control by respecting what rules your life: earth, air, water, ether, respecting the elements, being conscious when you partake of your food, when you touch something, when you look at something, when you see a tree or when you see a blade of grass, being conscious and honoring. And the same holds true for water. So when some things about water, sip throughout the day. If you gulp a whole bunch of water, you will offset the pH balance in your stomach, and your digestion will go awry. And you can actually end up making yourself toxic by the misuse of water. And this is another one that's hard in the West since we have so much ice available in hot months. Cold water can be really toxic for you. It's a shock to the digestive system. So try to drink room temperature water. And if you drink standing up, just be aware that when you drink standing up, you flood your system. So if you can, if you take a sip standing up, sit down and savor your water. Water is blue gold, and there's actually a movie called Blue Gold. I encourage you to find it and watch it. It's really amazing because water is going to be one of the currencies that we're looking at. We already are. I mean, the fact that I grew up with great water coming right out of a faucet, and now we're buying water. That really tells you something about part of the balance, the new balance that needs to come into being on this planet, because everyone being made of so much water ought to have access to clean water. And Blue Gold will turn you into just how far off course we are with that. And then you can decide if you want to pioneer something in that area or join a group that already is. So your stomach should be 50% when you eat. Your stomach should be 50% food, 25% water. So you do not want to download a whole bunch of water before you eat. I know some say, well, that fills your stomach and you can lose weight. But it's not worth it because it completely upsets your digestive system and offsets it. And we are creating what? A new balance. And sacred self-care is a big part of that balance. So 50% food, 25% water, and 25% empty for the digestive process to take place in that space. So, you've heard me say before that if you look at the size of your fist, that's the size of your stomach. So 50% of that with food, 25 at the most with water, and then 25% empty. But honoring water, honoring it as if it is the most fabulous glass of fresh grape juice or champagne or whatever it might be. Of course, we know that alcohol is extremely toxic for the system. But in these times, we're going to find that there are many people who have an urge to escape the madness, especially as we move into April and then May, and these energies take off, because there will be the high side. I'll be talking more about that, and the low side. But I just want you to know, as you look towards spring, with this equinox having had the moon in Libra when the equinox occurred, the end of Libra. So, and Haumea being there, super creative. Haumea is a Hawaiian goddess whose body produces creativity from every part, births all life forms. So balance, Libra's about balance. So this new balance, this is one of the elements of it. Creativity, self-expression, honoring your truth, mastering your energy, remembering that you are light. You are the light of the world. Yeah, you are the light of the world. You are the change you want to see in the world. And the corruption of the systems isn't about they out there. It's about how our system has been corrupted by not having the mastery to focus on that which uplifts and inspires. And that's a good thing for you to ask yourself when you watch something or when you take something. Is it upsetting? And if it's upsetting, is there some energy modification that you can do to help? Or is it uplifting and inspiring? That's what you want to go for. And so I hope you go for that this week. If you want a reading, there's a link, or you can message me at Moon Powered Astrology on Facebook. I'll be offering a 3-for-1 special in readings, but right now the Lunar Discovery session is there, and a full lunar astrology reading to help you really kick off spring and navigate all these energies of transformation that are occurring this year. This is a very, very important year. It's a 6 year, which is love, harmony, balance, family. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week. Remember the light worker that you are, the lighthouse that you are, and shine a light on your own path first. Be the change you want to see in the world. As always, I love you to the moon and way beyond.